program operates on three main pillars: commitment, leader, and awareness, training program, and mentoring and advocacy. This year, in 2020, 15 companies are participating in the initiative, including small to large companies from different regions in the country. My name is Andreza Souza, and I am a Natura Sustainability Manager. Natura is also part of the program and Vice President at the Global Compact Brazil Board. I'm going to be the moderator of this session that will discuss the challenge of a woman in high leadership. In Brazil, we feel several of these challenges, such as salaries gaps, difference in treatment when women and men leaders have similar attitudes. Men are considered as strong, while women as aggressive. This is just an example. And the challenge we work, life balance, and paternity and maternity leave are also some other examples. And here to discuss that, we have Andrea Fonseca, França. She is partner and technology and consulting leader and gender pillar leader at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Brazil. And we have Priscila Manfrim Tavares. She is administrative general manager at Special Dog Company. And first of all, here, I would like to tell you that what are the main challenges for achieving in high leadership. So what can you bring here to us, Priscila and Andrea? I mentioned some of the main issues, but for sure it depends on company to company. So I would like to hear from you.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. I agree with you. I think companies face challenges to achieve balance in high leadership because they lack a pipeline from middle managers. A problem known as the broken step. Men, as we know, are far more likely than women to be promoted from their entry-level jobs to managers. And this explains why there are fewer women at senior levels of management. It's harder for women to catch up with men, with their male colleagues. So at PwC Brazil, we also face this challenge, even though we have a growing pipeline for leadership. So when we look at some specific sectors, such as technology, that's my area, and also advisory, there is still a lot of work to be done. So I would say that a key point to develop a key point is to develop actions and programs that look not only to the key talents and top performers, but also the mid-level managers. And last but not least, we should look carefully to the question of intersectionality. It's a difficult word because it is a challenge to accelerate the presence of Black women in the leadership positions at PwC and in the corporate sector as a whole.
Thank you, Andrea.
Yes, hello, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. And what I think, I agree that each company has its own challenges. It depends on the reality of each company. But talking about the reality of a special dog company, I think one of the main challenges for us to achieve this balance in high leadership positions is to find a way to surpass and to overcome the macho culture and the male work culture that is so strong in Brazil in general. But also, I think I can say that it's even stronger in our reality as a company, considering that we are a Brazilian company and we are a family business. Both of our founders are men, so they are seen, of course, as role models. So we have a very strong culture. Being in a small town, we are based in a small town in the countryside of São Paulo. So the male work culture is so strong in a great part of our employees. So what we have been doing in the past few years is to try to find a way through education and to find a way of how to overcome and how to surpass such a strong macho culture.
Yeah, this is really a challenge. And Priscilla, Special Dog Company is constantly recognized as one of the best companies to work for in Brazil and in Latin America. And for you, what are the challenges to set and reach ambitious corporate targets for women's representation and leadership in business?
Yes, well, I think one of the most important things that company needs to keep in mind is even though the challenge and the target needs and has to be ambitious, but most important, it needs to be reachable and it needs to be achievable and attainable. When you set ambitious but achievable goals, it's much easier for the rest of your team and for the people who will need to be involved in the process to embrace your idea, and they will get higher motivation, and they will really embrace the process. And also one other important thing is that it needs to come top down. Your CEO or the president of the company, it's so important that he or she embraces the process and the program itself. For instance, here in Special Dog Company, we are one of the 20 companies that have signed the commitment letter of target gender equality. But we wouldn't have done it if it wasn't reachable for us to have 30% of the high leadership positions occupied by women by 2025. Of course, we are currently at 19%, and so to get to 30, it's ambitional and it's challenge. But if it wasn't reachable, we wouldn't have signed it. So I think that's one of the most important things.
I also believe very much on the power of setting commitments and public targets. And Andrea, for you now, diversity and inclusion is a priority theme for the network of PwC firms, and the company is a benchmark for many of the other business, as it have the potential to escalate this thematic in the organizations that work with PwC. In your opinion, how the company could help to raise the bar of gender equality?
Well, so at PwC, we have a diversity inclusion strategy in order to turn the PwC a place where all of our people can be fully themselves and have equal opportunities. So we do this through 5 main dimensions: LGBT+, race, generations, people and disabilities, and gender. So we understand that investing in diversity and inclusion is the right thing to do, but it's also strategic for business. So we really understand that PwC has an important role to play in the life of our people, but also as advocates in our value chain, influencing our clients, governments, suppliers, partners. So answering your question, we can, as a firm, contribute to the dissemination of good practice by participating in events like this, business movements, publicizing our internal actions. I mean, what we are doing internally to create a firm gender equity, such as programs to accelerate women's careers for leadership, or, for instance, extended family leave policies. But I think we can also contribute in a very strategic way, especially with data and research. For example, we produce annually the Woman at Work Index. a survey that talks about gender equality in many countries, and this year is also focused on the inclusion of women in technology. That's my area. So one of the results of this research is the gender pay gap of 18% in the technology area. In 2018, we also launched the survey Time to Talk, What Has Changed for Women at Work. So we interviewed more than 3,500 women from more than 60 countries, in which brings very interesting insights on what companies should do to adapt to female expectations at work.
Thanks, Andrea. Yes, it is a lot have been doing. But I hear, continuing this discussion, then you mentioned some actions, but what are other things that what else can be done? I mean, to reduce the challenges faced by women in the companies. I open to both of you, maybe Priscila.
Okay, I can go first. Yes. I think for us, the first step that we took was to recognize and to want to bring target gender equality to our reality. We are a relatively young company, so we are a pet food company that has been on the market for a little less than 20 years. So the gender equality subject has not been on our agenda for many years. So it has only been our agenda, like started a few years ago when we decided that we wanted a special dog company to be a fair and just place for everyone. It doesn't matter the gender. So one of the first steps that we took was to establish a well-structured salary policy, which men and women getting equal pay for when in the same job position. I know it's something that it has been done for many years in multinational companies, but for us as a small company, a middle company at the time, was something new. So that was the first step that we took a few years ago. From now then, we have been investing a lot of time and putting a lot of effort in education, because we believe that, as I said before, that education is one of the most valuable tools that we have at our disposal to promote transformation. So based on the pillars of justice and respect, we try to empower women in our company. We have been doing this through lectures and speeches and mentoring programs. I think we're very eager to learn from companies that have been doing this much way longer than us. So for special dog companies, such a great opportunity to be here with companies such as PwC and Natura, who have been doing this for many years. And we also believe that we want to bring the team to a daily basis of our employees through our communicational internal channels. So it's something that appears very frequent in our channels, because we believe that people will learn, and the most important thing is that they want to learn. Everybody wants to get better. And a few months ago, we created our diversity and inclusion committee. So we have a group of people now that are eager and very anxious to promote transformation and to promote changes in our company. We are fully aware that the change doesn't come overnight. So it happens gradually. It takes effort, it takes time, it takes patience. It doesn't always come as fast as you wish you would. But we also know that we still have a long way to go. I think we still need to develop and to produce our first inclusion program, for instance. So it's something that it's in our radar. But I think we are excited because we also are moving forward, and we don't settle. So I think we are in the right direction. We still have a long way to go, but the most important thing is to keep moving forward and to keep learning, and then that will get great results.
Thanks, Priscila. Very
Yeah.
good to hear you, Andrea.
So, so our journey in diversity and inclusion is a long run, I think, for everybody. And we have been working and learning a lot to achieve gender equality at PwC. I think the first lesson learned is the need to eliminate or at least mitigate bias that is clearly there and here everywhere. So we developed training, talks, workshops to strengthen a culture of belonging and engagement, such as gender talks, space for dialogue and reflection. We also organize talks from partners, female partners, with our team, and we are with our directors and managers, showing them how we got there, how was our path. It's important for them to listen. We realize that. And other thing we learned is document and be sure with policies and procedures to guarantee some process to sustain this culture. For instance, developing policies like our extended paternity leave of 60 days, when the Brazilian legislation assures just up to 20 days. And this, I think, sends a clear message of how we see and what we expect from the division of the home and care work. Another thing is our performance repetition policy, assuring mothers that come back from maternity leaves that they won't be punished with low performance ratings because they repeat, we repeat the same rating they have just before they leave. This is very important. This is a problem that we had in the past, and now we are trying to solve this. And finally, we created programs to incentivize and accelerate the career of our talented women, establishing programs like our Women in Leadership. It's a sponsorship program designed to bring more women to the top positions. We already had 2 programs, and now we are going to start the 3rd. And last but not least, and it's really important, we have a global commitment, I mean, for the PwC network, to achieve 30% of women in the leadership positions. So just not for the market, but internally. And we also have this goal.
Thanks so much, Andrea. Yes, in here, also from our experience at Natura, I believe that this type of commitment, and here just to mention, on the TD agenda, the goals of having 30% of women in top leadership by 2025 or 50% in 2030. I believe it helps a lot to foster, to speed up the agenda, and also to bring other topics to the agenda, like pay gap and the assessments that are needed to achieve this change. I think we are coming to the end, and it was a great pleasure. I think it was a very interesting and valuable panel. Thanks very much to the organization, Gabriela, and everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.